What's up, everybody? Josh and Jay back with an emergency edition of the America's Blue podcast. A little bit of news today. Something happened. We're bringing back Super Frankie Lampard as the custodian of the club for the rest of the season. We were waxing poetic yesterday about all the managerial choices and options and different things. And one question's been answered. Frank's going to be the man for the job for the rest of the year, bud. What do you think?
I thought it was that the new ownership group didn't want to emulate the manager turnstile approach to the Roman Abramovich era. And now we've had 4 skippers in one season, which is, I don't think anything, even as cold-blooded as Roman was, I don't think he could have even dreamed of doing this. Now we got Super Frank back trying to steer the ship in the right direction, man. It's partially ironic, partially hysterical, and somewhat exciting, I guess. I mean, I know things didn't end well last time, but for a season underneath sanctions and not being able to make transfers and having to work with young kids, Super Frank got us in the top 4. So he's as good as anybody I could have dreamed of right this second for a 60-day cameo.
I mean, sure enough. I mean, look, let's get this out of the way. Everton was a disaster. That was not good. He needed to do better. It is true he did keep us in the top 4, and he's obviously very familiar with the club. So let's get into that portion, because the first thing I thought now, if Frank Lampard is the coach, one thing is for sure: Mason Mount is going to play. There is no way that we're not going to be seeing Mace out there. You're definitely going to be seeing a lot of the core guys, or maybe some of the people that were on the fringe before under the Potter regime, get a little bit more playing time. And I think that's a good sign for Christian Pulisic, because we all know that he likes Pooley. He gave him the number 10. So I actually definitely think we're going to see some legitimate personnel changes and hopefully an attitude change. And maybe we see some of our England internationals puff their chests out, play a little bit better, because they all know who Frank is.
The latter part of that is what's important. I mean, regardless of who there's a lot of depth and talent on the squad, and regardless of who we're throwing out there at present, there's just no confidence. There's no pride into what this club and what the badge means. So what better guy to be able to try to restore some of that Blue Lion Chelsea pride into a squad that is just drowning right now? There's going to be personnel changes. I think, the situation with Mace at a contractual level is what it is, but Frank and him have an amazing relationship. On a personal level, I'm sure Frank's going to want to take him under his wing for the next couple of months and try to just get him back from a mentality standpoint to focus on the job, focus on his craft, and whether he stays with us, he goes somewhere else, make sure his career is heading on in the right direction and on the right trajectory. And I think that applies to a lot of the guys on the squad. So we could have stayed with this guy, Bruno, whatever. It looked like Graham Potter 2.0. He didn't even want to be there. So, again, if we needed somebody to shepherd us to the end of the season, hopefully just, again, try to correct a few things. Super Frank, I'm very happy with it. And I think we've mentioned this on the cast months ago. Like, who can we get in place to try to get the season back on track? And we threw around Lampard's name. We were like, hey, John Terry's down at the youth level. Can we pop him up? Get one of these guys. Forget about the X's and O's. Just give me somebody who gives a shit about this club, knows what it's about, and is going to start to install that into these players.
Well, and it's 100% a mentality thing. And, Frank's a guy that's won it all as well. He can point up at the rafters and, say he knows what it takes to win certain competitions. And he does, with us, know how to keep a team into the top 4. Not that that's something that's going to be happening. But look, man, we have, to your point, the most calamitous season you could ever imagine from a managerial standpoint. I mean, now that you say it out loud, having 4, I mean, that is really something. But at least we know who's going to be responsible for landing the plane and or just crashing it into the mountain. And hopefully Frank can at least start taking 3 points in the Premier League a couple of Sundays from now, and we can maybe sneak past Real Madrid and into the semifinals of the Champions League.
What a story this would be if again, not that this would be, Champions League aside, right? Like that would be some epic fairy tale for Frank Lampard to get us on a run. But even if he can just turn the tides and get us back into like Europa League, let us pop up the tables like 4 spots, 5 spots by the end of the season. What an amazing turnaround that would be if he was able to inject it into the team. And I thought he did an amazing job with us that first season. Things kind of fell apart before we had to bring Tuchel on. And I'm not going to dog him for who has done well at Everton. Everton had Carlo Ancelotti at the helm, and they suck. They just suck. That team is just doomed at the moment because their ownership sucks. So I think this is great on Frank. Listen, he loves Chelsea. He bleeds Chelsea blue. He's doing us a solid here because I don't know who the hell else would have been capable enough and willing enough to come back and take this job and not worry about the stain that it's going to leave on their resume. So big on Frank for coming back. Big on Chelsea for making a move to try to find somebody to just build some kind of momentum toward the end of the season so we can go into the offseason, get back to the drawing board, and see what's up with these talented players.
Yeah, man. And look, he brought in Kai Havertz. He was, Frank was the guy who got all these big summer signings. Timo at the time, those were big time moves, and we were making it happen. And he took over at what isn't a calamitous time around here. This is what we do. This is who we are. The absolute breakneck pace and white knuckle fanhood that we have here at our beloved Chelsea Football Club. So, look, man, I don't even know what else to say. Now we're going to have to, really go out there, take our time and evaluate with the, proper feelers and see what the long-term answer is going to be. Do you still think it's going to be one of those core guys that we've been, talking about for the last, week or so? Do you think that now with a custodian in place, the trajectory of the change is completely, changed?
I'm happy that it buys us time. Like I'm happy that, number one, we don't have a Graham Potter minion running the club, not wanting to be there, being very emotional, upset about what just happened.
Yeah.
I want no part of that, dude. Go cry in the corner and do what you got to do elsewhere. I get it, but like that has nothing to do with where we're going, and that's really what I'm concerned with. We have a guy who is going to take the bull by the horns, and players have to respect based upon what he put out on the field. I saw we made some serious courting moves with Luis Enrique today.
Saw that.
Nagelsmann is still obviously in there. I'm sure they're going to continue to vet this situation out. They'll find somebody. I hope it's the right choice for who's going to be here long term. But at least this gives us a chance to potentially get the season back on some kind of a track and finish okay with some level of positivity. The fans can see Frank off with a huge hurrah in whatever that last game is at Stamford Bridge. And then we can go into the offseason, get a manager in place, give him a full offseason, full transfer window, and hit the ground running come next season.
That's the dream scenario there, bud. Short of us, pulling off the Champions League title. 5 wins, five matches away. Doesn't have to be 5 wins, just 5 matches away. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We got to keep the positive energies going. Listen to me. This is me, of all people, trying to bring the positivity, trying to find a little bit of a silver lining. But look, man, what do you got?
Wait, let's just fantasize for a moment. Could you fucking imagine Frank Lampard comes in under these circumstances, and then we just somehow start tearing it up in the Champions League and we win that damn thing?
Well,
Frank becomes a player and manager winner of Champions League glory for the boys in blue. I'm just going to gush a little bit, even though the chances of this happening are slim and none. That would be the biggest fuck you to all world sport. Because everybody's laughing at us right now. And if we could go ahead and pull the rug out of that, holy shit.
And Frank would never be allowed to manage again. He'd just have to quit.
No.
He'd have to quit, and then Chelsea would just have to pay him a manager's salary forever. Just on the side. It's like, look, Frank, we don't want you to be the manager, and we don't want you managing anywhere else long term. We're just going to pay you. Just be here.
Dude, they're going to encase his ass in bronze and put him somewhere regardless. But if he does that, man, they're encasing him in some kind of 24-karat craziness. That would be the most unbelievable thing to ever happen.
Well, Chelsea...
Enough of my fantasy.
Yeah, Chelsea's the perfect place to do it, and Chelsea is the perfect club. Best club in the world. Couldn't be more proud to be a fan. But, right now, the pickings are slim, and it can only get better from here. So... look, man, I'm glad we got the opportunity to get together and do this. All the subscribers out there, all the people that follow us on all the different streaming platforms, Instagram. We thank you guys so much. We'll be back with more content this weekend after hopefully a Frank Lampard Chelsea squad can take 3 points from Wolves. Man, it would be nice to get back on the positive side of the win column and get 3 points and start moving up the table. So that's it for us. We'll talk to you all soon. AmericaIsBlue.com for all of your content needs. Until this weekend, ciao for now.